Welcome back to the channel, TrainStation 2. Alright, Seaport Event first competition progress update. I'm just going to tell you that the starting late is the key to win. Alright, focus first on the boats. The boats has request certain items before they release those event items like an anchor, steering wheel, ropes and whatnot. And henceforth you have them and you can make your delivery by train. Okay, so if you can't fulfill that criteria or request from the boats, you run out of time and the boat will leave. Okay, there's a fourth boat which you can watch a video to engage the fourth boat. Okay, so now I have something waiting for me at the depot. I think it's a prize. It could be the fifth day reward. Let's see what we check out for from this 3 stars container. Not too bad. 6 power electric train, although I think I have that already, but nonetheless it's still a good train. Okay, I hope you have gotten ready for this competition by packing all your factories to the brim. Okay, meanwhile really got to fulfill all the captain's requests. At the start it'll be tough because you do not have any material, so you got to quickly fulfill it and release some of the Seaport event items before you can start your dispatch by train. Otherwise you can't really move. It'll be just struggling trying to fulfill the captain's request. Okay, the key is definitely fulfill one boat at a time. Unless you really prepared for one boat already and you have really just waiting for time to pass and you still got additional dispatcher to spare, then you can work on the second boat. Do not embark aggressively and ambitiously on all the 4 boats if you open, including the video. Then you may miss all 4 boats and you got nothing. And of the time, there's always a time factor here. It's not like it's always there, so it's just, I think it's about within 4 hours you got to fulfill that request, otherwise the boat will leave. Okay, so just got to bear this in mind. This is the only time critical parameter that you're going to work within. Within this 4 hours you got to rush out all the requests by the boats. If you're not confident in fulfilling all the 3 boats, do not unlock the 4th boat right until you are ready. Otherwise the time start to click and you'll be very stressed up with a 4 captain's request, i.e. 4 boats request, and you can't do any of them complete. Alright, so if you have a full factory all full with products, then you shouldn't be worried about that at all. Okay, so that's what I've been saying, to prepare for it. Alright, the competition started. Positioning is poor definitely as a start because it's 0. Starting late itself helps because you're working with a group of people that are more chill, not as aggressive. So this is the key to winning competition. As you can see from my previous videos, the Halloween I won 6 competitions, having all first. That's the only key. I mean, besides that is to prepare for it with an EP head start. For this, you got to prepare with goods all in the factory filled to the brim. Okay, so when the second competition comes, this is just the first, right? So the second competition comes, you can actually prepare to get all these items ready. Then at the same time, gotta bear in mind, if you really can't do that captain's request, you can bin away that request. Basically can throw it away, but again there's a time factor. Once you bin it away, the ship will be away, I think, for an hour before it comes back. So do not bin all the ships and then you're left with nothing to do. So you got to bear in mind this. Okay, this is something that it's not auto generated the moment you bin it and the next moment it's pop up and it let you have a new set of requests. It doesn't work that way. There's a time factor to it. So unless you are really again confident that you can fulfill all the remaining requests and you really think that you do not have time to complete the 4th one or the 3rd or 4th one, then you decide to bin away, so you can have the boats coming concurrently rather than all at the same time. Because imagine you bin one and then you start working on the remaining 3. It will take you simultaneously, or if you focus all on one boat, that boat will go first. It will have a 1 hour regeneration time, then you will have all different timing when the boat comes back. Okay, so there's also another strategy where you work with. So I just gently just to repeat again. At the start, all the boats come at the same time, but as and when you go along the way to the game, you complete one boat, that boat will go off, you'll come back an hour later, so eventually you will have boats coming at different timing. Okay, so that is also good for you, so you can focus on the one that comes first, then the second, because time is critical in this Seaport event. Unlike any other event, you do not have this issue. Okay, you treat these boats as if they are your event factories. Okay, just imagine that way. You have the event factories in normal events where you basically produces items when you collect from the customers after you deliver certain things, and then the customer give you certain items that you put into the event factory and you generate the event items. That's normally how you play for events. This itself, there isn't event factory. Okay, so it's straight from the boats. It's like a barter trading. You give something to the boat give you back, and those are the event items, and that's what's requested that you need to send by trains. Okay, so settle the boat first before you settle by trains. Okay, so that's how it works. So you can see here I've prepared all the factories with all the very time consuming items. So if you wish, you may want to take a look at your own factory. What are the so-called time consuming items that you wish to build first before actually it's being requested, because you know that the moment you bring back the raw materials, you pop that then into the factory, some may even take up to an hour or more to produce. So these are the things that will hinder your time critical boat which will leave. So this is something you're going to work out with. Things for me, I mean, tables will take an hour, so definitely I will pack all the tables in my warehouse as well as in the factory output tray itself. So this is something that you really got to work with. Another thing is definitely, besides furniture and textile factory, what are other factories that you wish? I think sawmill would be one. Sawmill will be another one that takes time. Likewise, I think the food plant would also takes time. I think the smelting is not so much of a concern. So these are the few things I think you just gotta bear in mind. I think the chemical one, I think, doesn't really that much of a concern, but you probably may wish to build some as well, like glue and whatnot. So that takes some time. So it depends on your region where you are, the factories that you have. Check out those items that takes a long while. Build them first, put them in the output tray. Do not block your choke up your whole warehouse space that you can't move. But again, once you put into the output tray, if you don't want to just max it up, you may wish to leave a gap, one gap at the output tray, which means that your production plant can still run. You got to bear in mind, once you pack your output tray to the brim, your production will stall in the factory because there's no space for them to produce after the final product will be placed. That's why the production will stall. So if you wish to keep on running that production in that particular factory, you got to have at least one output tray slot empty. Okay, so that's how it works in this factory manipulation of warehouse interim. I call it the interim warehouse spacing. So how do I always do that? Which is like, for example, if you have 4 output tray, either you pack all the way to the brim, then basically you are not prepared to produce any more things from the factory. That's one possibility. Another one is basically you pack to the 4th or 5th one. If you have 6 output tray, you pack to the 5th one and then you leave the last one empty. So what are the factories I'll pack to the brim? What are factories I may not? Okay, so for example, the factory that produces steel and the factory that produces copper, I mean, they are both from the same factory. What would you produce in the output tray? I will produce copper, because copper needs time to manufacture, whereas steel you can grab straight away from the steel factory. So I will produce copper all the way to the brim, including the input. I will put all the
copper ore and mine, so-called the coal from the mine, and then put them together and make sure that they're being ready for production. I'll pack all these raw materials to the brim. I'm not afraid that I would store that factory. Is because even if it's stored, what am I missing? I'm missing about steel, and steel I can grab straight from the factory in region 1, so there's no need for me to produce steel actually. So in that factory itself, I'll just pack all with copper, and that's about it. Okay, so that's simple. For other factories, like for example the food factory, for example, you can produce milk, you can produce probably wool, or you can produce flour. So it all depends. One way is you just focus on the one that produces the take a long time to produce. You can produce all of them and put an output tray and leave one gap, so that eventually you can still run production if required. And if the item is being requested for, the one that took 1 hour, then probably you already have a few of them ready, so you save a lot of time. So this is how you manage the input and output tray for the factory. I hope a bit lengthy in explanation, but I hope that make it clear, rather than at the end of the day you're not clear about this input and output tray and you got stuck because you have already stored all your production line. So I already hope you do not do that. Alright, so next, when it comes to the captains, okay, put it this way, I'll just explain by boats and by trains. Okay, ignore the captains. Okay, so whatever I explained earlier is about the boat. Apparently fulfill the boat request, and then you have time critical, and then once you've done that, you're given the event items, then you send it by trains. Okay, so again, when you send out by trains, try to fulfill one at a time. These are the trains requests. So when you send out the trains, why do you need to send one at a time? Why not simultaneously across the customers when you send to trains? The reason is because the ranking chart works on a first come first serve basis, which means that at the end of the day, the first person who accumulate 10 points will be placed on top versus the same another person with the same 10 points. So that's how it works in a ranking chart if you're not familiar with the game and you're not familiar with how the ranking chart works. Okay, so that's how you are always focused on, unless sometimes you know that we didn't have sufficient items for the train dispatch, then we'll work on the second customer, of course. But if otherwise, focus on one first, so you can complete and collect the coins, and then they will place you on the chart. Okay, I've just started collecting coins. You can see I fast forwarded a bit to show you the progressions. Here you see I need glue, and glue needs time, but unfortunately I've already spent all my glue for other production, or for producing or for servicing the request by the boats. So I have no choice now. I'm going to collect wood and fuel to produce my glue itself. So what's going to happen right now, you can see I've just fulfilled another boat's request, and then with that we should be able to grab some more of those ankles and whatnot. So all this simultaneously I'm working on, because the timing of the boats that's coming back are all different right now, which is good. That allows me to focus on one boat at a time. At the same time, the captains, also called those dispatched by train customers, I'm going to fulfill one at a time as well, and probably they will have the same pattern of coming back once I cleared them. Alright, so after a hard fight and a long day, I managed to climb to the top, and I'm just going to continue with this and work my way up, because I really need to get those legendary trains, at least one, I hope, out of the 3 that I just want to fulfill the dream of collection in region 1 and 2. That's why I urge you, do not rush through your leveling up to go to the next region. Once you leave that region, you'll regret it if you don't get a full collection. Alright, I hope you good luck in your competitions. Do like and subscribe and share with me too. Thank you.